Christopher, you might be saying, what the deuce is this? You don't do X-Men characters. Well, I would do, if there were more X-Men figures I wanted, and I only occasionally dip into the comic book figures, mostly for my beloved Spider-Man. But this is one I really wanted to pick up for a couple of reasons. One, this is a civilian figure. What does that mean? Well, normally, the action figures made by any company, usually the ones aimed directly at kids, and sometimes, like with this, at collectors' markets, they only tend to make characters based on the heroes and the villains. Like the big figures, the standout, visually distinct characters, the ones that you are going to, you know, spend your time playing with or displaying, right? It's the reason why, if you collect Doctor Who figures, all the B&M sets are usually, for the most part, a Doctor or a Dalek, and maybe, if you're lucky, a companion or a more obscure monster. Same with Marvel Legends. You know, you're going to focus mostly on your heroes and villains. It's the reason why it's taken years for them to even do a Happy Hogan figure. Happy's in a 2-pack with a variant armour. It's a reason why it's taken to the upcoming Multiverse of Madness figures for us to get a Wong, because Wong has become more prominent in the MCU as the films have gone on. But obviously Doctor Strange, Mordo, Caecilius, like they were the priorities when the waves began. Moira MacTaggert is a staple of the X-Men franchise. One of Charles's oldest allies, sometimes lover. Different adaptations have done different things with her as well. But she has, according to the back of this box, been a very, very busy bee. Now, I've not been catching up on my X-Men, but I've got Marvel Unlimited, so I fully intend to read some more. Last X-Men stuff I followed was early to mid-2010s All New X-Men by Brian Michael Bendis, so I've got some catching up to do. But it says here, Moira MacTaggert. Through the course of many lives and deaths, Moira MacTaggert pursues justice for all mutants. Moira MacTaggert, an ally to mutant kind, apparently having lived several incarnations. I don't know what this is about. It's a story I'll have to follow. This figure is part of a wave where you can build the Tri-Sentinel, which again, news to me, because when I think of the Tri-Sentinel, I think of a giant sentinel with 3 heads on a rotating skull. So this thing is news to me. Other figures in this wave include a Wolverine, post-resurrection, Charles Xavier, post-wheelchair, Omega Sentinel, Marvel Girl, Moira, Magneto, and Cyclops. There's some cool looking figures in this wave. Can't lie. I'd quite like that Cyclops. I'd quite like that Wolverine. I'd quite like that Marvel Girl. On the side, we have artwork of Moira MacTaggert in a more civilian identity. We've got a lovely big old X at the top for X-Men, of course. And that's in the background. Moira's name isn't even on the front of the packaging. It's on the side in this House of X emblem, which is different. I've never seen that before, the name not being on the front. But maybe that is her name in some form of Sentinel language or Genosian dialect. I don't know. The reason I picked this up is because 2 things. One will become apparent later on, but the first is, like I said, getting a civilian figure is kind of encouraging Hasbro based on the sales that, you know what? Maybe we should start releasing more, you know, Foggy Nelsons. Maybe we should start making more Gwen Stacy's. Maybe we should start releasing Bruce Banner figures. You know, is this making sense? I hope this is making sense. Let's take a look at the Tri-Sentinel Build-A-Figure wave, Moira MacTaggert. Moira MacTaggert. First glance, as far as like a civilian figure goes, this is great. Like, she has quite petite feet and heels, so I was worried she wasn't going to be able to stand, but no, stands up fine. Maybe do what I've done and tilt one leg to the side ever so slightly. That seems to help just a little bit. You know what I mean? She's in a neutral stance, just or have one leg just slightly tilted to the side. Articulation-wise, she has very delicate ankle joints, so do be careful. But that also pivots ever so slightly, not a lot though. Double joint in the knee, there is a swivel at the top of the thigh. She has motion in the crotch, obviously limited this side of the skirt slightly, but that side is sliced, so she has a little bit more motion. She swivels at the waist very easily. She has a rib crunch, She has a one shoulder joint that spins around, which is more than enough in a sculpted coat, really. She has the, unfortunately, still the older female singular elbow joint, and the wrists bend in and out. The hands pop out really easily, which is handy, as you'll find out in a moment why. And her head is on a ball socket and pin joint. This is a really, 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 really decent figure. Like, holy shoot. Like, the colour of the shoes going through into the skin is really, really nice. The colour of the skirt's really good. The sculpt of the lab coat is fantastic. Complete with a row of pens in her top pocket. Creases of the lab coat are fantastic. Hang on. Stand up, Moira. The sculpt, this head sculpt, is wonderful. If I can get my big fat arm out of the way so you can see it a little better. Little glue issue with the bottom of the strand of hair there on the left, but glasses are there, her eyes through it, the lipstick is beautifully painted, the hair is really well sculpted. That is a great looking character. The thing is with Moira MacTaggert, of course, by her being a civilian character, Moira's not got any like distinctly specific look. I mean, the back of the box of this figure sort of solidifies that by showing that she's based on a Moira that's got at least 5 designs according to the packaging. 5 very distinct and different designs. So as a result, she works as a standard civilian figure. Before we move on to her accessories, she comes with the left leg of the Tri-Sentinel, which is spindly and big, and makes me think that the Tri-Sentinel will be a spindly tall gent. So that's nice. She comes with a book featuring a sort of Xavier X-Men style X in the middle and the Atom there, Children of the Atom sort of insignia. So that's a nice little bonus. Again, if you're just buying her as a civilian figure, you've got more books to join in with, like Gwen Stacy books and things like that. If you want to customize into a dark hole to be my guest. She comes with a neckerchief that one wears this way. She comes with this second head of a version of Moira without glasses. She's got a slightly cheeky smile going on. It's a really nice sculpt. The paint's a little sloppy. There could be a little bit more paint filling out her right iris, but it's not too bad. Again, hair sculpt is lovely. Similar length to everything else that's going on with the other head sculpt. Nice hat with a slightly rubber peak. And she comes with 2 sets of arms, the lab coat ones, and non-lab coat arms, which again, singular bend at the elbow, which, be careful with. Ooh, the paint's stiff, so I'm going to have to work on that one. But yeah, these hands pop right out as well, so you can mix and match the hands that are on the figure with the hands that are on the spare arms. Let's take a look at Moira in her more civilian outfit. Boom! Civilian Moira, as depicted on the back of the box there. With a swishy fringe, cheeky smile. Again, the outfit is just subtly changed by the swapping of the arms, the neckerchief. The really, honestly, quite adorable smile. Thing is, as a Spider-Man fan, this figure gives me sort of 2 options, really. Take one look at her, and this could be Betty Brant of the Daily Bugle. Stick her next to Jonah, put a Daily Bugle in her hand instead of that book. She could be Betty Brant. Customise this head or put it on another body. I've got Carly Cooper. But what if I were to take the head of a figure that didn't have a body, but was instead a spare head from a previous release of a similar civilian figure? Let's try it out, shall we? Oh, hello, Mary Jane Watson. The Spider-Man Retro Wave 1 Gwen Stacy figure came with the Mary Jane Watson head, which, on the green coat, purple skirt, and calf-high boots, look pretty cool, but it's a very distinctly Gwen Stacy outfit. I've had the head sat in a box for a while. Now, thanks to the tear in the skirt and the alternate option, it's the slightly more kind of model-esque 80s era MJ vibe going on. This is the second reason why I really want to support civilian figures like Moira, because you suddenly have outfit options for removable arms and coats. You have alternate heads that you can experiment with, especially if you're doing displays. If you want a random civilian, I've got 2 female options there. I've got a neckerchief if I just want to accessorize a character. I've got a book if I just want to add some more books to a character. Oh, and look at that. I have a Mary Jane Watson. Didn't have one of those before, did I? That's kind of cool. Stick symbiote Spidey next to her. That is a great 80s Spidey and MJ right frickin' there. So, what do I think of the Moira MacTaggert figure? If you're an X-Men fan, I think you're getting a pretty cool expansion cast member. One who would, assumedly, be the peg warmer of the wave, being the only sort of non-mutant-y character. Guess what? It gives you so many options. The head sculpts for Moira are fantastic. The accessories of the book, the coat, the arms, the neckerchief, wonderful. The playability for displays, I can't say enough about how well that worked. Obviously, different figures, different pegs will give you different results. Like, the sculpts are not always exactly the same for the neck, the size of the ball joint, so do Google first to see what's compatible. For example, the Peter Parker body for the first retro wave is mostly used online, I see, by people making civilian Steve Rogers figures with Chris Evans heads. So, Google it first to see what you can see, otherwise be prepared to do a lot of moulding or sanding. But, yeah, I recommend this figure, especially if you want to build up your civilian roster. And I certainly recommend it if you are looking to have a female body to use for supporting cast members. Moira MacTaggert, what do you think? Worth picking up? Let me know in the comments below. You can also support me by buying or donating toward future toy reviews through the PayPal or Amazon wishlist links down below in the description. You're under no obligation. Obviously, you could totally just support me by commenting, liking the video, favoriting, subscribing, putting on the notification bell. I will catch you guys again very soon for some more Marvel and other toy reviews.